I was about 4 years old. And I've told some of you this story before. But I had gone to the 5 and dime store with my grandmother. My grandmother's a saint. She is one of the sweetest people I've ever known. Makes some of the best homemade apple pies, best chocolate cake in the world. And she gives the second best hugs only to my wife. She can give you a hug that just lets you know, hey, you are loved, you are appreciated. And she's been giving us those hugs all my life. But on this particular day, we decided to go to the 5 and dime store in downtown Oxford, Alabama. We were just going to run in there and do a few things and then come back out and head to the house. So while we were in there, I was just checking out everything. You know how it is when you're standing there at the aisle, and when you're 4 or 5 years old, you don't really understand the idea of lines. So she's in line, she's paying for her things. What's right there? King. You know? So hey, up to this point in my life, I'm the firstborn, I'm the first grandchild. You know, I am the king, I am the prince, whatever you want to call it. So anything I wanted up to this point in my life, I got it. So I just looked over there, there was some bubble gum, I like bubble gum, I got that bubble gum, unwrapped it, put it in my mouth, started chewing on it. We get out to the car, we get in the back, you know, I'm standing up, like we did back then because seatbelts didn't really matter. So I'm standing up in the back seat, she puts it in reverse, turns to look, and she looks at me and she's like, where'd you get that gum? And I was like, in the store. So then all of a sudden, my grandmother puts the car back in park. And all of a sudden I saw something just come out of her that I don't know that I've seen 2 or 3 times in my life. It was like she was a demon, you know? She had these fangs coming out, lightning bolts flying out of her eyes. And I just said, I don't know what to do. So naturally, in a car that they had back then, it was about a half a mile to the other side. So I just decided that she was coming to this door, I would just run over to the other side. So my grandmother's arm extended like Stretch Armstrong. And reached over there in that corner and jerked me out, and I didn't know what was happening, but all of a sudden we were finding ourselves marching back into the store. I was scared just because I saw this demon come out of my grandmother more than anything, but she's chewing me out the entire time we walk in there. She's like, hey, you do not ever take anything that you do not pay for. She's giving me this lecture. I go back in there, she calls the manager, his mother, his aunt, who dug grandma up, who'd been dead about 14 years. We had the whole store right there in front. And she said, you are going to apologize to them for stealing. And I was like, I'm sorry. I got these tears rolling down my eyes. Every time I drive by that store now, it's not even a 5 and dime anymore. I think it's like a place that sells fishing lures. I drive by and I'm kind of like, you know, I was 42 years old, and that's the memory I have of that particular store. It still has, it makes an impression on me. But I say that to say this. At 4 years old, that is the day that I remember learning right from wrong. Okay, do you have a similar experience? Do you remember what that was? All right, but see, that's us. Let's get off of that for just a minute, because I want to walk away. I don't want to talk about me a whole lot. I don't want to talk about what I've done wrong. There's genocide, and there's abortion, and there's slavery, and there's all these things over here that we need to look at that are big sins. And my question to us is this. Is it that we have spent so much time looking at the sins that the media puts out there for us, that we have failed to pick up this book and look into the mirror and address the sin that's in our lives? I want to ask you this question as we get into this second lesson in this series, Overcoming Social Sin. What happened to sin? Whose sin do we focus on? Hey, you know what? I'm not the one that had an abortion. I've never killed anyone based on race. And you know what? I'm a good citizen. I don't pollute. That's what other people do. That's them. Shame on them. What happened to sin? Maybe the idea here is that sin is just something that other people do. My friend Richard O'Connor, I remember him saying this on multiple occasions as he was preaching. He said, you know, what we like to do is we like to come to church on Sunday and we like to hear a minister get up and preach on attendance. You know, why people ought to attend church on a regular basis. And we'll go out and we'll say, hey man, you did a good job. You told them today. You told who? You told them today. Why? Because the fact of the matter is, if I preached a lesson on attendance today, and church attendance, then who's not guilty? You aren't. I'm not. Why? Because we're here. And most of us don't struggle with church attendance. So the thing is, I get fired up about it. Hey, you know what? Tell them. Put them in their place. That's what we need. But then you let a preacher get up and preach a lesson on loving your neighbor or gossip. That's a different story. Let me read a list of words to you. Good, kind, self-control, love, joy, gentle, faithful, peace, patient. I'm asking you for just a second, pay attention to what we're doing here. If you're on your cell phone, put it down. If you're thinking about the grocery list, let it stay away for just a minute. Do these words describe you? Because I want you to think long and hard about this for just a moment. Because for a lot of Christians, when we look at self-control, good, love, faithful, joy, kind, peace, gentle, patient, these words are going to describe those Christians. And why isn't that the case? I mean, why doesn't that bother us? Because see, the words that I just gave you, if you didn't notice, are a list that Paul gave us. And see, we're a little bit more concerned about what others are doing than we are the fact that our lives don't match this list that Paul gave us that are fruits of the Spirit that he talks about in Galatians 5. It says, for those of you who are in Christ, these are the fruits that should be produced in your life every day that you live. This is the way that you should walk into the world. These are the things that you should give to the world. See, we're so busy being concerned about the sins of others that we spend very little time looking at our own selves. And maybe that's because within the kingdom, within the churches in general, maybe that's because that's what we've been conditioned to do. Because you let election time roll around, and what do we say? Well, I'm not going to vote for this particular candidate. Why? Because he doesn't line up on this issue, and I can't stand with him morally right here. And you think about what those lists of things are. You know what they are. I know what they are. They've been the same most of my lifetime. But have you ever said this? I can't vote for that guy. I can't vote for that lady because I don't see a lot of self-control. Have you ever said, hey, I can't vote for that person because when they talk, I don't feel loved? If that's the case, we wouldn't have voted for either of the last candidates, right? But you think on this for just a moment. And you think of how we have allowed ourselves to be conditioned and almost to be the police of the world and pointing out everybody else's sin. And you think about the Christian community. One of the reasons a lot of people are not attracted to us and attracted to what we're doing is because we're doing this. The last couple of months have been really tough for me. I've been trying to go through some stuff and trying to look at some stuff. I'm going through a thing, and Clint's going to help me with this some. Going through some stuff that I just decided I needed to do for myself. I'm going through this book called Celebrate Recovery. I read some things about that to you last week. And one of the things it tells you to do is you got to lay everything out there. You just say, here's life. This is what I've done and where I've really screwed it up. And this is where I'm doing okay and God's blessing me and I'm being obedient. And you got to write down a list of things that you can remember where you've wronged people and start doing what you can to make amends. So needless to say, I've dug up a bunch of stuff that I didn't really want to deal with. And I've got it laying out there on the table. And it's a tough time. And I have not been kind, and I have not been easy to live with, because I've got so much junk on the table right now, and I don't even know where to start. And it's not fun. And maybe that's what we do. We just go and we point out everybody else so that we don't have to look at ourselves. Because we really want to get to where God wants us to be. What will make you free? The truth. If the truth is what I seek, and He's the one I seek, and I'm going to put my life in line with Him, then I got to get all this stuff out. I got to turn it over to Him. I got to start doing what He has told me to do. And that's what I'm asking us to think about this morning. Consider this passage in James chapter 1. But don't just listen to God's Word. I mean, what are we doing here today? I mean, honestly, what's the point of being here, of hearing me get up here and talk to you for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, if we're not going to do anything about it? Don't just listen to the Word. I mean, there's a lot of other things we could do today. You don't have to waste an hour of your time. You wouldn't have to get up at 8 o'clock. If we're doing this, action is expected. But let's continue on. You must do what it says. You must do. It's not optional. Otherwise, you're just fooling yourselves. For if you listen to the Word and don't obey it, it is like glancing at your face in a mirror. You see yourself, walk away, and forget what you look like. But here's the good part. If you look carefully into the perfect law that sets you free, and if you do what it says, and don't forget what you heard, then God will bless you for doing it. See, that's what I want. I want to be blessed for what I'm doing. I don't want to bear the burdens I'm bearing. I don't want to walk through life frustrated and struggling. But what does it tell me to do? Look into this, do it, and it'll happen in a greater way. But let's continue on. Let's look at Acts. It's one of my favorite passages in the entire Bible, because we're looking at what we've got laying on the table here this morning, or what we ought to pull out of our lives and lay on the table as we answer this question, what happened to sin? Acts 3 says, now repent of your sins and turn to God, so what? So that your sins may be wiped away. All right, put them out there. Give them to God. He's going to take care of your sin, but that's not the end. Let's look at 20. Then times of refreshment will come from the presence of the Lord. How many of us are dealing with what we laid on the table a long time ago? Lord, I put it out there. I confessed it to you. But then He forgave us, but we haven't forgiven ourselves. And we're walking through life and we got this burden that we're trying to handle. We're trying to forgive our own sins when the reality is we laid it at the feet of Jesus and we ought to forget about it. We ought to move on. We ought to allow Him to do what He does, which is to renew us, forgive us, empower us to live for Him every day. What is sin? Well, if you look up the basic definitions, in a lot of different commentaries, and you look at what scholars define this word as, it's missing the mark. You got the bullseye right here, this thing right here. And somebody stands in the back and they shoot and it hits over here, or it hits over there. They don't hit this. The whole idea is to hit the bullseye. But that's what we don't do. We don't hit the bullseye. Not doing what we're supposed to do. So this is where I'm going with this morning. I want to ask you, when's the last time you opened this up? When's the last time you opened it up and said, okay, I'm going to take my life and I'm going to lay them right here. Here's the Word. Here's my life. I'm going to see how my life matches up against what God has called me to do. When's the last time that you open this up and ask God to reveal to you areas where you're being disobedient? Hey, look at CNN. Look what they're saying about this guy. Hey, look over here at these people. Man, they're marching and they're doing this. And guess what? I can continue to look away and I can continue to not focus on me. And as long as I do that, I feel pretty good. Because I'm never looking at my own sin. Where are the areas in your life right now where you're missing the mark? Let me run through a few things real quick. Do you gossip about others? Do you put people down? Use unkind words? Talk badly about your boss, the president, another follower of Jesus? Ephesians 4:29. This is a passage that we probably all should just highlight and then get one of those blinking signs at Walmart and staple it to our Bible right here so that every time we flip, we're like, oh yeah, there's that verse again. Do not use foul or abusive language. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. I like the New King James. I like the way it says this. Let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth, but what is good for necessary edification, that it may impart grace to the hearers. Now think on that for just a moment. You go back, and I was telling you what I've been going through, and I've been looking at these passages and preparing for this series, and it kind of got me to saying, okay, where are you going to go with this? And I got to think about the stuff that comes out of my mouth. And I got to think about how negative it is sometimes. And I got to think about how I don't encourage people with the things that I say sometimes. Let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth, but what is good for necessary edification, that it may what? Impart grace to the hearers. When's the last time you had somebody say something to you and they were really struggling in life? And maybe it's a person that struggles a lot. Oh, here we go again. Did you hear what she said? Yeah. I don't know that she's ever going to get over that. And we can go and we can talk and we can gossip about that person. Or we can say, man, I know it's been tough. Jessica just lost her grandmother this week. Or last week, and it's been a tough time for her because she's close to her grandmother. I was standing right up there just a few minutes ago. And she's hurting all this. That's what she said to me. But I know how you feel. That made me feel good. I lost my granddad 2 years ago, and that's the wound right now that I have. I can't get over it. I miss this guy every single day. And I didn't realize how much encouragement he poured into my life. I mean, I knew he was there. I knew I could talk to him anytime about anything, but I did not realize he was such a source of encouragement for me. And then you pull that away and boom, it's empty. And you have people around you who are suffering loss, and you have people who go through tough times. And what are you doing? Give them another kick? Are you giving them words of edification and grace and letting them know that you love them? Second thing I want to ask you, do you withhold forgiveness? Or hold a grudge? Because see, once again, we can go back to the genocide, we can go back to the slavery, we can go back to the abortion. Matthew 5 says this, and man, this works. It worked a long time ago when Jesus said for us to do this, and it's working 2,000 years later. But it won't work unless we do it. So if you are presenting a sacrifice at the altar in the temple, that's us today presenting our worship here, and you suddenly remember that someone has something against you, what does it say? Leave your sacrifice there at the altar. Go and be reconciled to that person. Then come and offer your sacrifice to God. Do you withhold forgiveness? Do you hold a grudge? How about this? Matthew 6, verse 15. But if you refuse to forgive others, your Father will not forgive your sins. Let's go on to the next one. Have you arrived at a point in your walk where you've got to sit on a judgment seat? And you're going to look down on other people. They're not measuring up quite to the standard that I have for a person who's a Christian. For a person who ought to be at another level, having been a Christian for a year or 5 years or 10 years. Are we on that judgment seat? I mean, some of us are, right? We'll sit here and we look around. And you aren't doing this. 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 1 Corinthians 8, it's the matter of offering food to idols here that Paul is addressing. Listen to what this is saying. Now, regarding your question about food that's been offered to idols, yes, we know that we have all knowledge about this issue. All right? So, if you are a growing Christian, if you have been in this thing for any amount of time, then you ought to have a reasonable amount of knowledge on how to do this. Right? You agree with that? But what are you going to do with that knowledge? Are you going to allow it to be passed on to someone else that you can build up, someone that you can help disciple, someone that you can help to understand love and grace and mercy and how they can walk with Jesus in a greater way, or are you going to do this? But while knowledge makes us feel important, it is love that strengthens the church. So here's verse 2. Anyone who claims to know all the answers doesn't really know very much. But the person who loves God is the one who God recognizes. So you sit in that judgment seat. You know it all. You know how to do everything the way that it ought to be done. And let's criticize those over there who don't. But what does God say is the answer? From the very beginning, it's always been love. Are you doing everything the way that you ought to do it? No. I'm not either. I'm trying. I'm in progress every day. I got the forward momentum. I'm trying to reach out and do what God has called me to do. But I still got a lot of stuff to work on. And it's only by His grace that I'm saved in the first place. And if I look at that and I see that about myself, then I also need to look at others and see if they are a work in progress as well. So let's think about these sins for just a moment. Do you participate in any of these sins? Maybe even indulge in them with no remorse whatsoever? Why no remorse? Back to our original question. What happened to sin? Why don't we get us fired up about not growing in the fruits of the Spirit, exhibiting those things in our lives as we do about the sins that we talk about all the time? It's easy for us to give ourselves a freebie, to let ourselves off the hook, and we justify it, right? Why? Because our sin isn't as bad as everybody else's. But here's the issue. And I want you to think about this for just a second. God hasn't given us the authority to establish a value system for sin. He hasn't given us the authority to say, okay, those sins over there are worth 8 points. My sins over here, that one's only half a point. He hasn't given us the authority to do that. Consider James 2 and verse 10. For whoever shall keep the whole law and yet stumble in one point, he is guilty of it all. Now maybe that's hard for us to understand, because a lot of times when we think of the law, we think of our law system here in the United States, right? If you're traveling down this road right out here, and you're running 50 miles an hour, you pull over, if God pulls you over, you're going to get a ticket for what? Speeding. He's not going to say, okay, you're getting a ticket for speeding and trafficking marijuana. Why? Because you committed the sin, the wrong. You broke the law of speeding. You're not guilty of everything. But see, when we look at God's Word, we've got to understand something. The law of God is seamless. The Bible talks about God's law, not God's laws. So God's law is one, not many. So when you break one, you break it all. Right here. Anyone doing this? Perfectly. Any takers? This is what we do when we sin. I got this from Jerry Bridges. He said, we completely disregard the law of God, a deliberate rejection of His moral will in favor of fulfilling our own desires. Because typically when we sin, it's not that we were trying to hit the bullseye and we just missed a little bit. No, typically when we sin, it has nothing to do with this right here. It's just that we just decide, hey, you know what? I'm not even worried about the bullseye. I've got this desire within me and I don't care about the bullseye anymore. I'm going to go out and just do whatever it is that I want to do. We're following our own lust, our own desire. James 1:14 says, temptation comes from our own desires, which entice us and drag us away. Guys, why do we lust? We lust because we get pleasure out of it. Bottom line. Why do we gossip? Because we enjoy it a little bit. Because what does it do when we gossip? It puts us here. Hey, look right over here. This person's here. I'm here. And I can gossip and I can put that person down and at least I'm not right there. I'm not as bad as them. Every time we choose to sin, we are choosing our own desires over God. Think about that. Every time you gossip, every time you judge someone, every time you do these things we talked about here this morning, you are choosing to say, hey, I'd rather do this right here. I'm choosing sin over you, God. I mean, we never say that. Anybody here want to get up and say that this morning? No, man, I don't know that I've ever said that in my entire life. I don't know that I've ever even thought about it until I started preparing this lesson a couple weeks ago. But that's what we're doing. Hey, I'd rather have you than God. I'd rather have this than God. Have you ever really pondered that? Sin is sin, and God is very serious about it. Our religious pride, our critical attitudes, our unkind words about others, our impatience, our anger, these sins are as serious as any other thing that God mentions in His Word. And that's the bad part. But here's the good part. The good part is lessons like today. The good part is scriptures like the one that we've considered. Why is that a good thing? We've talked about sin, man. We've talked about some tough stuff. Man, this has not been a super positive lesson. I'm not going to walk away here with butterflies in my stomach. Why is this good? How is this good? Because those things point us to God. It says, okay, here's your sin. Lay it out on the table. Repent. Turn it over to Him. And the good news is, and has always been, that if we do that, we take our sins back to the gospel, and He does what? Renews us. Death, burial, and resurrection. What area do you need to be resurrected within this morning? See, I talked to you last week. I talked to me and I said, hey, this idea of death, burial, and resurrection that we undergo in the waters of baptism is not a one-time thing. Why? Because we keep coming back to it. God, I need renewal here. I need renewal here. I need renewal here. That's the good part. And here's what I want you to understand more than anything else. We sin. We hurt God. For just a minute in your mind, go back to the prodigal. And what do you see? Always. The story is the same. The word doesn't change. You see a father who is longing for that child to return, who's looking for him every day, saying, hey, I just wish you would come back. I wish you would give me one more chance. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to walk out here every day and I'm going to look for him. I'm going to look for her. My door is always open. I am welcoming you. And then all of a sudden that one day he looks out and he sees him walking out and he's like, hallelujah, he's coming back. And what happens? He doesn't just stand there and say, hey, you come right here and you lay it out. I don't know, it's going to be a little bit of time. No, he starts to run to him and he says, you, my son, who was gone, who was lost, who was away from me, welcome home. Hey, I want to tell you how. No. You are back. You are here. I love you. I don't know what you're struggling with this morning. I know my life right now is a mess. And I need your prayers. And I need your help. But the beautiful thing about this is I've been looking at Scripture and I'm going to tell this message to myself over and over again, and I want to say it to you this morning. No matter where you are in your life right now, no matter what it is you're going through, no matter how bad you've messed up, no matter how deep within sin you are right now, you have a Father standing there with arms wide open, waiting for you to come back home, who is ready to run to you today. We'd love to help you any way that we can. As we stand this.